My hero story is a 26-year-old with just one thing in mind: how to unlock human potential. So I belong to a small town. I studied in a small school in my early years, and I got the opportunity to move from this small town to a very big city, Bangalore, and I saw the world and the potential that people had and what you could go out there and achieve. And then I also got the opportunity to study for a short while at Harvard, and I met students there, people who were going to swim for the US Olympic team, and I saw how much is possible, how much one human can achieve. In one line, if I had to put it, it is that I think we sell ourselves too short. I think we just don't push hard enough or even try to go after a big enough bet or a big enough objective. How colossal are our dreams is sometimes the biggest question. Sometimes we just want to try to go till the next orbit, and that's the mindset that we start off with. But I think even my parents have always told me to think incrementally, but that is not how I believe it should be done. I think we need to all sit at homes, and when we talk about our dreams, we need to talk big, think massive. Because if we don't think massive, we will almost definitely end up selling ourselves too short.
My name is Avi Arya, father of 2 girls, 6 dogs, husband to a superwoman, a streetcar racer turned hotelier, now social media marketer and founder of Internet Moguls. Aapki bari.
Awesome. My hero story is a 26-year-old with just one thing in mind: how to unlock human potential.
Wow.
If I had to put it in as crisp a way as possible, I think that's how I would like to put it.
Lovely. So tell us, Shobhit, there are people who are listening are 13 to 19 and then middle-aged people and then senior citizens. What is the one message when people are starting off? Because especially now after this whole pandemic has happened, what is your one message that people should have in terms of their mindset when they're starting off? बहुत सारे लोगों को अब जिंदगी शुरू से start करनी पड़ेगी. What is your message to all kinds of people who are starting off?
I think my in one line, if I had to put it, it is that I think we sell ourselves too short. I think we just don't push hard enough or even try to go after a big enough bet or a big enough objective. How colossal are our dreams is sometimes the biggest question. Sometimes we just want to try to go till the next orbit. And that's the mindset that we start off with. But I think even my parents have always told me to think incrementally, but that is not how I believe it should be done. I think we need to all sit at homes, and when we talk about our dreams, we need to talk big, think massive. Because if we don't think massive, we will almost definitely end up selling ourselves too short. So right. I think that would be my initial and first message to anyone that is thinking of starting up or even starting their life. Let's say an 18-year-old. I think that would be my first message, that you can't just aim to get a job in a good company. That's just what a waste of your next few years of your life.
Right.
So yeah, that dream goddamn big. That would be my advice.
Awesome. So, Shobhit, tell me, when most youngsters, not most, but many youngsters, I am joining a company, वहाँ free lunch, dinner, or weekend पे parties होती है, वहाँ pick and drop होता है. Rather than joining a mentor who can change their lives, many people are saying, CTC, ये बंदा है. So, इन दोनों चीजों में अगर आप कैसे, how would you advise somebody to find the right company to work for?
So I think there is a very, to do incredibly great work, I believe that a person needs to have some degree of a sense of purpose. And that sense of purpose does not lie in things like a free lunch. And this is got to be mentorship advice, life lessons that have got to come to a child, when let's say a child is, let's say 13 or 14, till the time a person is 18, when he actually has to start making key decisions for his or her life. And I think it's just it is I I can't share enough or focus enough on how disgusting it is to actually hear someone say that about their job at Google,
Right.
and it is so sad to hear that. And I think I'd even read somewhere that Google is actually only waiting for that 1% of people, who are not there for that reason, who grow beyond that very, very quickly. So yeah, I think it's just disturbing almost to hear that, knowing that the only way to do incredible work is to have this sense of purpose behind, almost like this mission that you are on in life, and a pursuit to achieve. That only comes when you have that, and a free lunch is insignificant as compared to the high that the mission gives you.
Right. But Shobhit, I don't know my mission. I'm only 21. पहले mom dad ने बोला school कर लो, फिर college. Then I don't know my mission. And plus the thing is I'm so dependent on my parents. I don't know what to do. So that's why I compromise and get these kind of jobs.
So I think that's completely understandable. I think the first step is to become aware that I don't know what the hell I want to do, and not to go after the safest option after getting to know this. I think the immediate step to take here is to figure out. I'm reading. So my brother reads a lot of Robert Greene, and he's been telling me to read Robert Greene. I only recently started. There's this book called Mastery, and where he says um, that at this stage we've got to go after, find what our inclination is, and pursue that inclination with a degree of discipline, with a high degree of discipline, and take that risk at that early age of 18 to 21, where let's say what you're doing with your daughters, right? They have got a phenomenal mentor. I think not 0.1% of the world is lucky enough to have that. So for that audience, I think you've got to, I say this even to our team at Josh, you have got to inorganically learn. You cannot rely on experiences to teach you, because that is just a very inefficient way to learn and grow. Because
Right.
eventually I think people will figure out by their mid-30s that, oh my God, this is totally bullshit. I have no reason, meaning
Right.
I probably make decent enough money, but most people will not even be able to say that. So I think at 21, we've got to very clearly put in our minds that you've got to learn inorganically. You cannot rely on experiences like our parents have relied on, because they never had Google, they never had videos, they never had YouTube, they never had this book that you're going to publish. And now we do. So we can go out there and we can read Mastery by Robert Greene. We can watch videos of people around and learn inorganically, but with a very disciplined, regimented, almost focus to learn and to grow. And I think that would be my advice to a 21-year-old. So sure, do that job, but apart from that job, you've got to learn inorganically.
Got it. So I love what you said. So you're saying there's no right or wrong. Right now, your situation is such that you need that job for survival. So take that practical option, but keep understanding what is your inner inclination towards. Maybe it's towards cricket. Maybe you want to do something around cricket, or it's around, engineer, whatever it is around. Work on that as well. Don't say that I've just got a job and I can't do anything else. And stay aware and read books.
I think the to find your inclination is a function of exposure. How much do you know? Right? And inclination, I also believe, is not generally just towards an art. It is towards sometimes also a right that you want to wrong, a wrong that you want to right. It is you've got to find that, and you can only find that if you are exposed to it. So for example, for me, I got the opportunity to so I belong to a small town. I studied in a small school in my early years, and I got the opportunity to move from this small town to a very big city, Bangalore, and I saw the world and the potential that people had and what you could go out there and achieve. And then I also got the opportunity to study for a short while at Harvard, and I met students there, people who were going to swim for the US Olympic team, and I saw how much is possible, how much one human can achieve. and I relate that to my maid at home and what she is doing and the efficiency of utilization of her potential. And I almost feel that this is a wrong that I have to right. This is my life's mission. But this cannot come sitting at home. This has to come, this comes. So I think finding your inclination or finding a sense of purpose is a function of exposure. So how much exposure you have is or at the speed at which you expose yourself to new things um, is how you end up finding that. So 21, it's already pretty late, but in some ways pretty soon. And yeah, it's yeah,
Got
that's
it.
what I would say.
Perfect. So tell me, in terms of exposure, so you said you came from a small town and then you went to Bangalore, and then, so how did you build your ecosystem of, see, ecosystem, and correct me, is ecosystem that you have to only hang out with the billionaires and the very successful people, or how do you build and how do you build one, and how did you build your ecosystem that gives
Awesome.
you
So
constant exposure?
absolutely. So I think until my generation, you had to be relatively lucky. You had to be lucky to be born to a certain kind of a family. You had to be lucky
Right.
to be born to a certain kind of resource background that your family had to be able to expose you to the world and the possibilities. But I think that was only true until my generation. I'll give you an example of why I'm saying that. So my dad is a doctor, and he had this dream that his kids have to see the world, and they have to, he didn't want us to get stuck in this small town with this small limited thinking horizons. So he wanted us to go out there and explore. And because of that push, for example, when I was in Kullu, where I grew up for most of my life, he bought me every single famous five. So the entire set of famous fives, when I had not even read one book in my entire life, right? So he didn't buy me one. He bought me, I think, all like 24,
I
and the secret sevens. And so I was probably one of the few people in Kullu who could speak in English,
Okay.
because my dad was so persistent on the fact that you have to be able to speak in English.
Right.
But I think, again, that I don't think many dads said that. My dad was a doctor. I was lucky to be, like, Warren Buffett says, I won the ovarian lottery. Right? I was
Right.
born to the privilege.
Right.
And that same drive in my dad was what got us to shift to a larger city in the pursuit to find more and to do more. And that's how it started. Um, but again, this is all pre-geo, pre-internet,
Right.
pre-YouTube era. So you had to be lucky. There was no other way. And then, of course, I was into sport and various things. So I think not getting into that too much. But I think today, um, a person grows up on YouTube. I
Right.
think, even my 6-year-old my Masi's, I think, younger son, is basically watching YouTube at 6 years of age. So he's
Right.
going to grow up finding content which is basically exposure, right? I
So,
couldn't get this in Kullu, so I had to travel to Bangalore and to Harvard to see that life. But now I can see that on YouTube. So it's not exactly the same, but it is similar. And
sure.
I think now it is possible for every single person in the world to force themselves to get exposed because of the internet. And I think at Josh, what our real mission is also is to I think inspiration and exposure are the two undervalued things in the world. Because if you have the right kind of inspiration and you expose yourself enough, these are two traits that every single successful person talks about when they're looking back at their story, right? You spoke about this when you spoke about your story and how you got exposed to the internet.
Right.
None of this would have happened had
Yes.
you not got exposed to the internet. And I doubt many 44-year-olds got exposed to the internet when they were, I think you mentioned you were in your teens, right?
Yeah, I was 19 years old.
Yeah. So 19, right? So I think most people got exposed to internet when they were 30 plus. So you had a 10-year advantage, and
Right.
um, you know um, over everybody else from that generation. So I think yeah, at Josh, we believe that we are going to go after this. We're going to create, and we focus mostly on the grassroots of the country. So people who cannot even speak in English fluently, whose household income is under 30,000 rupees per month, and the people, for example, who have this itch to do well, but no resources online, because still all the exposure on the internet is primarily in English. And what we are
Right.
trying to do is create that in vernacular languages, whether that is videos on YouTube, or whether that skills that people need to acquire to be able to do well in life. So again, that's what I wouldn't just advise to people, but I personally believe to the bottom of my heart, and what I am spending all my life gonna do is to do that. Yeah.
Awesome. Love it. So you came to a big city and you understood that the internet allows you to build an ecosystem, and you got people, you got exposure, and you started building exposure. But like meeting the right people, so my aim used to be, when I started the agency, I already had two small successful businesses, a small hotel business and a travel company. But back then that was giving me a net profit of almost 30 lakh rupees a month in 2005. So I didn't go
Wow.
running for money. I wanted to go and now meet more people, and for my agent, because I found in every phase of your life, जब hotel चलाया, छोटे मोटे star बन गए अपने area में, then you became travel company, affiliate marketing, and all of that. That became very big. I didn't even know it was called affiliate marketing. Anyway, that became very big,
Yeah.
and in a small industry, you became known. When I went into the agency world, I realized that every time a man is forced with new challenges, because when I went to the agency world and I spoke to people, nobody they gave me zero credit for what I'd done in the past. I had to start from scratch again. This time, obviously, YouTube and all was coming up a little more, and I started making more videos, and I started getting known faster, because I knew that up SEO ki jagah videos pe focus karo. However, I had a system. I used to say, for people to know me, I'm going to meet 3 new people every day. So I used to call up my uncles and people I knew, and like, Shobhit, can you introduce? My target is 3 people a day, 15 a week. So can you at least recommend 3? So you said, yeah, Avi, I can help you, but yaar, abhi busy ho, Monday phone karna. यार मंडे करूंगा तो फिर तो अगले से अगले हफ्ता हो जाएगा, ये 2 हफ्ते खाली रह जाएंगे. So I had to continuously call people, and then when Facebook and all of these people coming, I started inboxing the whole world. Then I started inboxing videos. People started blocking me. Ki this guy is sending us videos. He doesn't even know us. It's rude to get into somebody's inbox if you don't know them. So slowly, I built my interest. This thing like that. Used to make a list of people. How did you? You know everybody now. Everybody knows Josh Talks. Before everybody knew Josh Talks, how did you reach out to people? Because it's a very integral part of business today. All the 13 to 19-year-olds, or the 20 to 50-year-olds, or the 50 plus who are watching this, everybody is like, your network is necessary. So what is your suggestion on how to meet the right people?
I think there are two parts to that. One is, after you know with clarity what you want to do, then how do you meet people, and until then, how do you want to meet people? And I
Nice.
think
I like
until then is a tougher one, and after that there is some degree of clarity as to why are you even meeting people. So
that.
I'll talk about the second one
Sure.
first, because I think the first one just happened by chance, and the first one is slightly tougher though. So the second one was, so I remember one of the first speakers that we ever got to speak at Josh Talks was Papa CJ. Right? He was this massive celebrity that we all wanted to, gosh, we can convert Papa CJ to come and give a talk at Josh. That will be crazy. So I remember Supriya and I used to go to every Papa CJ show. And that probably he'll come out of this exit, we'll catch him. We'll probably come out of this exit and we'll catch him. So,
Nice.
and वो networking word तो कभी दिमाग में भी नहीं आया था, and none of that actually, it's just, you've just got the second part. Therefore it's easier because you've got this obsession, and
Of course.
obsession makes it simpler to decide what to do and how to do it, right? So we were obsessed with getting Papa CJ, and that was the only one life's mission, and we sent all emails, this, that, but it was, of course, like everybody is calling him to come everywhere. So at one of the shows, what happened was that his assistant hadn't come that day, and
There
this
was
is
no
in
gatekeeper.
Cyber City in Gurgaon, in Cyber Hub. Right, and like a painting from Cyber Hub that he was doing for Cyber Hub. So it was in the amphitheater, and I think his assistant or the 2 or 3 people with him who come every time weren't there that day. So
Okay.
I saw that show khatam ho gaya. Now he will have to pick up this thing himself and take it to his car, which I knew is in the back parking because I was tracing him. Where is he going? What is he doing? So
Shobhit, sorry, आपका internet
समझ आएगा कि
internet बंद हो गया.
today
Just
is the day.
I've
Today
lost
is the
you.
day. And right after the show, Supya and I were both there. Sorry, can you hear me now?
Hello, can you hear me?
Can you hear me now? I can hear you.
Yeah, okay. Can you see me loud and clear? Because
Yes, I can see it loud and clear.
Hazy हो गया. Okay, now you. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I think he was about to pick up his stuff, and I ran to him and I just picked it up for him. And I said, "I'll help you to your car." And it was about I don't know a 200-meter walk to his car. And in those 200 meters, I pitched him Josh Talks and the first ever Josh Talks conference. And he said, "Yes, that is fantastic. He would love to be a part." And that was the day. And I knew that he ab mujhe aata hai ye karna. This is how you do it. So I think the second part onwards it's easier because you've got a very clear obsession that you have to convert topicity. There is a reason, and then you can go out there and get that done. I think the first part is the more interesting part. Is the part where I think most people spend most of their time. And I think this has purely got to do with drive. There is nothing else. This has got to do with fire in the belly. I used to stammer a lot in my entire childhood. I still do. And I was always, I was never able to talk to people, ever. But I remember that since the day that I knew that I have to go out there and I have to be someone, I almost forgot about that. It took some time, of course. It took a lot of failures and knowing that you're going to remain a loser unless you overcome this. And right. I started going to every single entrepreneur meet there was. Chote entrepreneur meet hoti thi. One of my favorite was Entrepreneurs to Entrepreneurs, which used to happen in Delhi and Gurgaon. It is run by Yogendra, phenomenal guy, and I met him. And this is all pre-Josh, all right. Figuring out what do I even want in life, going to all Thai conferences, chupke without a pass, and meeting every single speaker and I think my internet again dropped. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah. No, I can't. एकदम से आवाज और आपका वो कम हो गया. What I'll do is, at the end, there are 3 या 4 questions है. वो मैं आपको इसके बाद audio note पे भेज दूंगा या video पे, and you can record it and send it back to me. I'll patch it in.
Perfect. I think sure we can do that.
Yeah. So 1 second, let me see. यहाँ मेरा तो internet proper आ रहा है. Let me see if I can get a better. कोई बात नहीं. This is one of the many hurdles. आवाज बिल्कुल ठीक आ रही है.
1 sec. Probably I will change my position. Could be my internet actually. Give me 1 second. This should be better.
I can't see you very well, but I can hear you, I think.
Yeah. Does this work?
नहीं, अब आवाज भी नहीं आ रही. वो मतलब कट के आ रही. I can see you now, but अब आवाज नहीं आ रही. Can you just say something?
Check 1 2.
Yeah, I think it's better. It's lagging. So like I said, what I'll do is कि I'll go through the interview again और थोड़ा सा मैं आपको तकलीफ दूंगा. 3-4 questions फिर से record करके दे दूंगा.
No issues at all.
Great. Okay, so great. I love that. You know what? I have a short story as well. I was a huge fan of Gary Vee's, and I was like, I'll meet Gary Vee when I ready in my own head. So New Year's khatam hua, I'm sitting with my wife and we do a family goal setting because I realized कि मैं goals बना रहा हूँ और मेरे बच्चे, my daughter says, Papa, maybe I'll go to Harvard, maybe I'll go to Hollywood. The younger daughter is saying, I want to open a horse farm. My wife is saying, I want to take care of dogs. We have 6 dogs. She wants 60 dogs. She wants a farm जहाँ छोटी बच्ची farm बनाएगी और वो अपना, और I want to do more work in social media training. I said, हम तो 4 different direction में जा रहे हैं. This is not cool. So let's do our goal setting together. Otherwise सब अलग-अलग जा रहे हैं. So we were doing our goal setting and all of that. 2 दिन लग गए हमारे को. Dream chart, goal setting, वो photos काट के लगाना where we want to go in life and all of that. And then I wrote, I want to meet Gary Vee in, and my wife is like, when? I said, after 1 year. She said, why 1 year? January ho gaya hai. New Year abhi khatam hua hai. I was in Vancouver. I was going to India. So she said, Gary ke office hote hue jao. I said, ye aise hote hue jao matlab, I can't call him. मैं आ रहा हूँ. She said, write it down, make it happen. Think of it. And then उस दिन रात को I could not sleep very well. So I called up my team in my office in India. I said, ट्रैवल कौन कर रहा है? सर मैं राजस्थान जा रहा हूँ क्लाइंट को मिलने, मैं चेन्नई जा रहा हूँ, मैं वहां जा रहा हूँ. ऐसे ठीक है. Just do it. Do a survey. Go to these 5-6 spots in every city. Do a survey. If Gary, because मैंने Gary का एक post देखा था, want to come to India, trying to understand कितने लोग आएंगे, कितने. He wanted to take a. I thought if I send people and do a survey that how many people want Gary in India, it will be a valuable video. So I sent 2-3 teams and I said जब जा रहे हो तो ये भी कराना. So वो लोगों से ट्रक में बंदे ऊपर चढ़े हुए हैं, उनसे पूछा, जो अनपढ़ लोग बेचारे अपने फूलों की ट्रेली लेके जा रहे हैं केले, उससे भी पूछा, गैरी वी को जानते हो भैया? कहता नहीं, हम नहीं जानता हूँ. ऐसे भी लोगों से पूछा, और कुछ लोगों से पूछा, कहते प्लीज आई वांट गैरी इन इंडिया. तो एक छोटा सा 3 मिनट का वीडियो बनाया. उसके बाद एवरी आफ्टरनून इन द ऑफिस, 11 साल पहले इंटरनेट मोगल स्टार्ट किया था मैंने, तब से लेके आज तक, आज जूम कॉल पे होता है रोज. पहले जब ऑफिस खुला हुआ था कोविड से पहले, एवरी डे शोभित 2 बजे हम लोग 11 बार गायत्री मंत्र करते हैं. चाहे वो कोई भी बड़े से बड़ा क्लाइंट हमारे ऑफिस में बैठा हो, वी टेल देम सर प्लीज गिव अस 5 मिनट्स, आइदर जॉइन अस. द एंटायर ऑफिस, जब 200 लोग एक साथ गायत्री मंत्र करते हैं ना, तो एक बहुत अच्छी वाइब्रेशन होती है. और वो खत्म करने के बाद वी हैव अ वीडियो फ्रॉम वन ऑफ आवर फेवरेट इन्फ्लुएंसर्स. तो गैरी वी का वीडियो हर हफ्ते आता है और सारी कंपनी देखती है. वो भी रिकॉर्ड किया, वीडियो बनाया, एंड उसमें मैंने एक आगे पीछे वीडियो डाल के आई सेंट इट टू वन ऑफ हिज मैनेजर्स. He said, we love it. Whenever you're coming to New York, let us know. And then when that video, बड़ी लंबी कहानी है वो, मैंने एक वीडियो भी बनाया YouTube पे, when Avi met Gary. That video, he liked it. Then he made a video for me. We liked what we were talking about. Then I had a second meeting, and then उसके बाद बहुत कुछ हुआ साथ में. So I loved what you said कि गाड़ी आपको. What I loved was, अभी तक पूरे इंटरव्यू में मेरा फेवरेट सेक्शन ये है. एक तो whenever somebody talks about their father and gives credit to the family, I love that because फैमिली इज एवरीथिंग. वहीं से सब कुछ निकलता है, सेल्फलेस. दूसरा मुझे अच्छा लगा कि आपको उसकी गाड़ी पता थी कहाँ पार्क्ड है. वो बहुत जरूरी है.
Absolutely, that is the key. The details are the key. That's what an obsession versus something you want is.
Exactly. So my next question is, so there are people, Shobhit, who are in their 50s, 60s, and you have met all kinds of people. आपने Josh Talks को zero से start किया. Everybody knows Josh Talks, and now you're going vernacular and all of that. And there are people of 50, 60, 70 who are sitting at home and getting inspired and saying, यार बहुत अच्छी कहानियां हैं. I wish 25 साल पहले मैं भी inspire हुआ होता. What is your message to those people?
So I think it takes 10 years to build something meaningful. If you're talking from a company point of view, almost all of us have 10 years. There are enough examples in the world of people that started when they were 70. So we see Firefox stores everywhere, right? I think I recently read somewhere that the person who started Firefox was 74 years old.
Wow.
When he started Firefox. Of course, we know the KFC story and a few other stories like that. I think at the end of the day, everybody sells themselves too short. Everybody sells themselves too short because हमें ना एक डर. I think this is what the narrative of the community is. I think this is what, for example, the American dream doesn't do. It advocates dreaming, and in some ways that's what we aspire for Josh to do. I think Josh has got to be the catalyst to a person taking or having big dreams. If I have Josh in my heart, I can do anything. It's like the American dream that if you come to this country, you can achieve anything. And at the end of the day, a 64 is at a much better position to do well than a 25-year-old.
Right.
Because a 64-year-old has so much more knowledge and information to take off from. Of course, there are some things that everybody will have to unlearn. But now that is true even for a 25-year-old. You will have to unlearn some ways. None of us, like I don't understand Twitch.
Right.
It's one of the biggest things in the world, and I've got to catch up. And so has my nanny got to catch up. She's 70. So I think so that is not an excuse. I think everybody is selling themselves too short. I think that's the summary.
I love that. I love that कि आपने ये चीज शुरू में भी बोली थी, and this makes sense for that 13-year-old guy when you were talking to him, and now when you're talking to that 65, 70-year-old guy, you're saying the same thing. A human being is selling himself short.
Yeah. I mean, I'm more than ever, we have examples that show us that we don't know the limit yet. We don't know the limit of how much you can do in one life. And if you look at it, you only need 10 years to do something great. Unless you want to go to Mars, then you need more like 30, 40 years.
Right.
But if you want to build a great, fantastic $1 billion business, which is a traditional, what sort of, let's say, everybody wants, you only need 10 years. And if the only question is not how old you are, the question is, do you got 10 years?
Right.
And then I think it all comes down to the fire in the belly. But I think the fire in the belly sort of also becomes a little bit of a negative thing. I think the fire in the belly has got to be built. And building that fire in the belly is the job of the ecosystem or the narrative in the community, right? So अगर सभी government job बोलते रहेंगे, तो वो नहीं बनेगा, because by virtue of using government job, you're going after safety. You're going after a limited goal. Roman Seni of Unacademy says that the best case scenario of me becoming a UPSC officer was that in 6 years I'll be a DC, a DM.
Achha.
And he says that is not even close to how much I want from my life.
Wow.
And I think, this doesn't just happen. So it's not fair. It is accurate to say that Roman Seni has more fire in the belly than the average Indian. But I don't think it is fair to say that others don't have it, or they weren't born with it, or Roman was born with it. I think this is to have fire in the belly is a function of the principles, the values that you learn, the lessons that you learn in let's say a part of your life, and implementing that. And today you can learn that inorganically.
Lovely. I love that. So when it comes to Unacademy, when it comes to Josh, when it comes to Udemy, there are so many people today who are creating online platforms for learning, right? And I've been for your Josh talks, and I saw the way your team sent me an email to invite me from everything. It was so beautifully structured. I could understand there was systematization, and there was. It sounds very cliched when everybody says empathy. Empathy, आजकल ज़्यादा use हो रहा है, but that's the word. I saw when you ask somebody and you say how are you, and you wait for a few seconds for a person to respond, means that you really want to listen and you care. So I saw that in your team, not one but many people. So I mean, that's when I was like, अब तो मैं आपको जरूर मिलूंगा, because I want to know how that trickled down. So this question is in two parts. I want to ask you, when so many people are making platforms now like Josh Talks, आप लोगों ने start किया था, बहुत सारे लोग कर रहे हैं. I'm not saying competition, but I'm saying a lot of people are getting into the online education space. You people also have courses, and and by the way, some great courses. I've taken some of them, and English to Hindi or Hindi to English, और आप लोग Unacademy भी कर रहा है, Udemy भी कर रहा है. So at 26, are you worried, or you like चलो जो होगा देखा जाएगा, or do you have a plan?
So like I said, my only sole reason to be alive is to unlock human potential. It is not to build a $1 billion business.
Right.
I will be more than happy if TED comes to India and says कि हम यही करना चाहते हैं जो Josh Talks कर रहा है. I will leave and join them.
Wow.
I think we have a very big advantage now, and I don't think that will be able to catch up. So probably now I won't. But in the early days, I would have.
Sure.
But if you look at, for example, Unacademy, I think we've got to do service. Josh, like I make it very clear to every single person who joins the team that when you join Josh, you are not an employee, you're a public servant. You've got to remember that clearly. Your loyalty is not to the company, it's to the people. And you've got to create for them. And I will say the same thing here. I would love for Josh to win, but I personally still win when unlocking of human potential happens. Now, Unacademy does it or who does it, it doesn't really matter. So when we are sitting at Josh and trying to create products, trying to add value, trying to build things that could improve a person's life, could improve a person going out there and doing phenomenal things, unlocking their potential, we don't look at Unacademy, see what they're doing, and then try and do something similar. We simply look at, there is a maid that's in my house. her life outcome could have been completely different had she got certain things in her life. So what I'm emotional about is giving those things to her, not about building a media business or about or about an edtech platform. In the future, if you can make an injection to unlock human potential, we'll become an injection company.
Right.
And so sorry, I think
No problem.
So the objective is just that. It's so are we afraid? No, because I think so. Personally, losing or winning, either scenario will not go on to impact, will not go on to become history. The only thing that can become a revolution is if we are able to unlock an entire generation's potential, where we are able to get the majority of the people in that generation to become super achievers, people who go out there and create value and meaning in the world. Until now, we haven't seen that happen ever, simply because there hasn't been tools to expose so many people to the world and the potential. And finally, now there is through the internet. So I think it would be fantastic to win personally, business wise, but the goal is not that. The goal remains to unlock human potential, and that's it.
Excellent. So you know what, like this, when it comes to, I like that. I was speaking to Manish from your office, who's a great guy, and he showed me around your office. He showed me a little bit about the culture and everything. And we were talking about. He showed me a few examples of people from not even small towns. They were from sheer villages. और शायद उन्होंने पहली बार जिंदगी में कोट डाल के टॉप दिया जोश टॉप के ऊपर, जिसमें शायद 1.5-2 मिलियन व्यूज आए अभी थोड़े दिन पहले. So आप जब सो रहे हो, what I love about your work is जब आप सो रहे हो तो कोई ना किसी पे जोश आ रहा है because of what you started.
Yeah,
right,
absolutely. And I think that is again that's a beautiful thought to have, that there is somebody out there in a village who now has hope, and more than that, conviction that he could go out there and do anything. And I think the key thing has also been to find these speakers from the grassroots,
right,
who can spark that josh in people. So yeah, it's
like I said, I mentioned Ritesh's story to you in between. You remind me a lot of Ritesh. I don't know why, because you were the same age when we met, or abhi tha ya kya tha pata nahi. But I remember that he said the same thing when we met for the first time, and I didn't even, like, nobody knew what Oyo was going to become. I think he also didn't know, but the fact was that he said, I want to give a nice experience. I said, what is your business? He said, I want to give a nice experience. And I kept asking him, what is your thing? I said, I want to give a good experience. He was trying to tell me, 20 years elder to him, कि आपको ये बात क्यों नहीं समझ आ रही कि मैं सिर्फ एक ही चीज देना चाहता हूँ, बाकी जो होगा अपने आप होगा. So I loved your answer. Those are some of the ingredients of a successful career later on. Even now, I mean, I'm not saying that Josh is, and when I see Josh going in multiple cities, I automatically, like, you don't have to be in multiple cities, but your work is happening in multiple cities. And your Josh people, your team invited me, and I went. Like I said, when I see Singh in system, I know that God is in that office. वो कहते हैं प्रभु वही है जहां सब या तो सफाई है या सिस्टम है. Or and God doesn't mean that you are the God. God means somebody through who everything is flowing, and it is flowing. So that was a very nice office experience of yours. Anyway,
thanks a lot.
So I've got one or two last questions before I wrap up. Because specifically this online school that we are creating is for, and I'll send you the list. You've seen the number of speakers from different parts of the world. All of them have come up the hard way, and everybody's done something extremely well, and everybody's spoken about. I wanted to ask you, what are the actionable? There are some people who are watching this in different parts of the world right now when it's launched, and I'm talking to the future people who will be watching this, and they'll be like, all this is great. I need to make money in the next 3 months to take care of my family. What are the few actionable things that you can tell them? Start
so
a YouTube
for
channel.
Our audience specifically, this is the case, right? They need to feed their family, and therefore, and I think a lot of people say this, leaving your job is not the answer to anything.
Right. Thank you for saying
Not the
that. Yeah, I
answer
know.
to anything. Leaving college is not the answer to anything. I mean, if you think about it, college is only 4 to 6 hours a day, actually, right?
I
Even
am
if you're
so
going,
happy
even if
you
you're
said that.
traveling.
I am so happy you said that because लोगों को लगता है कॉलेज ड्रॉप आउट और उसके बाद 50 साल का काम आधा काम तो अभी कर देता हूँ कॉलेज ड्रॉप आउट करके बाकी अपने आप हो जाएगा.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it is sexy to say you're a college dropout, school dropout,
Right.
things like that. Um, but uh, but that is not going to be the common or the average story, and we've got to optimize for that average story. When we create products at Josh, or when we are building what we're building, that on an average, a person is not going to drop out of college and then do very very well, because that's not the answer. Um, so. I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question again, Avijit? I
Yeah.
think I
So I'm
lost
saying,
my
what are
line.
the, you said, I said actionable steps for somebody who wants to make money in the next few months. Abhi I need the money right now.
Right. So let's say there's a 21-year-old right out of college, get a goddamn job. Jobs are available for any even partly driven person can find a job in India.
Right.
It won't be the best job in India, but it'll be any job in India. There are, and I say that, the trend is that आप digital marketing का course करो और digital marketing की job ले लो. Great, fantastic. Go do that. Do that. Get that 20,000 rupees a month. Spend 7, and save the rest for whatever else you need to do. You can live in a Delhi, live your entire life in 7 to 8,000 rupees a month. So go and do that. And while doing that, at the end of the day, to come up with that business idea, to come up with the next phenomenal company you're going to create, or any of those things, that's simply the the point at which you've built something phenomenal from the time that you currently are at. So yahan se wahan kaise jana is a function of time, right? How much time do you spend doing it? Now, if you weren't doing a job, probably you could add 4 hours per day to it, or 5 hours per day to it, and that's it, because you're doing a job for, let's say, 5-ish hours where you're actually working, right? Apart from that, you're present. And I would go on to say, like I used to hide. So my entire college life, I listened to Audible. I was in classes, but I wasn't actually there. I was behind my books listening to Audible. I couldn't read books in front of everybody in class, but I could hide a earphone on in my left ear, sitting on the leftmost seat at the back of the seat, and just put a earphone, and actually I'm attending class, but actually I'm listening to the Steve Jobs biography. I'm learning. So optimize time. At the end of the day, it's time spent. It's a function of time spent. And that's what I would say, that do a job and spend almost all your time learning.
Lovely. Shobhit, tell us, like I said, our aim is to get this out to at least 300,000 people. So to promote, the last 75 days, I did 75 webinars. On average, there were about 1,000 people attending. So we built an email list of about 113,500 people only during the lockdown period. And we're going crazy. This is the new baby of mine. So till this baby, this is my streetcar favorite number, by the way. So this is going to be on the book as well. And these are all my race car jackets. I just know this is just part of my brand now. I get my sister to make these kind of jackets. This is going to be on the book cover as well. So what we're doing now with this mission is, like I said, we'll have an email subscriber base of 300,000 hungry people in different parts of the world who'll be listening to this. And I know you love meeting people, because like I said, you and I have many friends in common. We don't know it. You don't know it, but because before I emailed you, I saw everywhere. I told Mritul from your office as well and all of that. So the 300,000 people over here, plus the 50 top internet moguls who are interviewed here, if all of them together could connect you to 3 people, who would though be the 3 people you would like to meet?
So who are the 3 people I would like to meet? Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. I think I'd like to meet Amit Shah.
Okay.
I wish I could meet Fred Rogers, but Fred Rogers is no more.
You never know. Today, tomorrow, there's another technology which says fine, you can meet anybody at.
Yeah.
I believe that.
Yeah, I think I'd like to meet Roman Saini also. I think there's something very special about him. Yeah. I think I'm trying to think. I'm trying to say a meaningful answer. So I'm going to take a second to say my third one.
Yeah. Take your time. Because the audience that's watching, it's their job to give back. You've heard 50 minutes of knowledge. If anybody knows any of these three people, you must make sure that we introduce Shobhit to them.
I think I'll stick on to these two. Yeah.
Okay, great. So
Yeah.
you said Amit Shah, Rogers, and Roman.
Roman Saini. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We'll
Fred Rogers is no more though, so I
yeah.
don't think I can meet him yet.
You know what? I believe I have a no. I don't believe I know that you can connect with anybody you want, even if they're not here. And I'm not talking about afterlife and death and all. I just feel that it's just you can't see up, or unless you try to connect, you will know somebody's car was parked at the back, and there'll be a way to meet those kind of people as well, and
Yeah.
actually have them talk back to you.